So I thought I'd make a video. Some things that got kind of a headache. I feel like they're traumatizing my brain and getting agitated. I'm shooting these electronic devices into my sonic waves that goes into my brain. It hurts. But anyway, I was thinking about some other things. Some of the things that I think are so important to say. I don't know if it's because I have a headache or just kind of my brain feels like it's being mushed. Is that you can't remember a lot of the things once you don't put them on videotape and don't ever discuss them. And I think that it was so easily to be directed at me as in a hateful way that I was an enemy of my mother, and my mother didn't, I was taking advantage of the situation. And the way that I dealt with things wasn't just because of the trauma, that's how I have to be because there's too many other people that are sticking their hands where it doesn't belong, that they want a piece of the pie. And I know that they're smart enough to take what they want, and my mother isn't. And one of the things that generates from this is that when you grow up with like a poor village lady like my mother, and they suffered so much. My mother would tell me stories about her life occasionally, that she suffered a lot, but she had a way not to tell people that she was a prostitute. But one of the things that, my mother would tell me is that she literally told me that when I came to the United States, she said that she had nothing. She goes, "You must go a los gentes casa a tocando la puerta que a ver que me podían dar." She said this in a way like a beggar, like the highest level degree of beggar. And I'm not just trying to say it's because you bought her a house and then you counteract it, and I'm like just giving her credit or whatever. But my mother would tell me that when she got to the United States, she was just begging to people and knocking on people's doors. Can you please allow me to have a place to sleep and live? And this is, my mother came into the United States when she was in the 70s, I'm going to say. Yeah, she was in the 70s. So people do not have cell phones. This is an era of time where I think the Vietnam War was going on. You're accessible to helping yourself was very minimized during that time. And you're very young, you're uneducated, you don't have any, and you're a prostitute, and God knows how many other guys probably brutally raped my mother that she never talked about, because it was just the way to survive and the way to live. Okay, you raped me, okay, but I survived, and you need to take all my money or whatever. Or she prostituted, got raped, and then the guy didn't pay her. You'll never hear about those stories, but I knew it happened. The way that there's so much that gets said into this, that whenever people were trying to take away shit from my dad, and I knew that they could take it away from my mother because she didn't have the mental capacity to be able to defend this. She has the willpower, but not the mental capacity. She wants the will, but you have to have the mental capacity to be able to deal with something like this, because every person is going to take advantage of you. They don't care about your life. They know you're stupid, and they're going to say that we're just here to help, and we're going to take all your shit. Ultimately, that's what they did. And I think it's important because, it's difficult, I still don't even know to this day. My mother used to tell me that Ivan was paying rent there, and this is how I started to get arguments with my mother, because my mother told me that he was paying rent, and I knew that it was a way that my mother could start getting money out of me. If Ivan's paying her, you should be like him, because she would always tell me that. Look at Ivan, look what he's doing, you should be like him. And in a way that he was responsible, getting a job and paying rent and has his own little car. And I knew 100%, my mother was going to want money out of me at 15 years old, 16 years old, to get a job and just start paying full rent. Giving her free money, and my dad has this money in his house, and then I get kicked out at 18 because this boyfriend of hers just showed up. So people don't understand. I know that this is happening. That my mother is now asking me, and I'm very aware. I'm just thinking at 15 years old, where am I going to end up at 18? Because at 18, my mother can kick me out as an adult. She can. And she's already she demonstrated that early 16 years old to late 15 years old before to me. And I think it's frustrating because even though I couldn't do anything about it, and they're going to change the story down the road, is to understand the suffering and the things that went through that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go through that or be around someone. You should understand that compassion. That is common sense. That is common sense to understand that from Kenneth Cooper, Ken Cooper, and Sarah. Those are blood-sucking parasites at the worst levels. And it is horrific even more when people get involved and other professionals and they took their side and erased my life, completely erased it, waited until they did the killings, waited until they got the rapes in, waited until they infected me with HIV, and then just talk about the explanation bullshit. And they did. They fucking won. This was a defeat at a degree that is. That's why I'm in this circumstances. They're beating the fuck out of me even worse. If it wasn't because of the World Trade Center collapsing and 2,000 fucking people dying, my dad speaking to the fucking president, and that you have to deal with 2,000 deaths, that my father speaking to the fucking president, and I have some sort of connection to this. I'm watching my dad die. I'm watching other people. There's so much on this. No. Now it's because I got raped by a transgender and you were trying to build a surprise and it ruined and fucked everything up. It is the highest level of discrimination, disrespect, downfall, because this is why I believe that this is why they put me homeless. When I was sleeping underneath the bridge in Seattle, Washington, I believe that the reason they did that and depleted me of everything is because they had to sort of reboot me or restabilize me. They had to restabilize my environment and mindset of what life is. Because the things that you want in life, that I want this and I want that and I want this and I think I should have this and I think I should have that. Oh, and I wish I should have that. Oh, I'm gonna, all that gets very gets very tangled, very tangled up in a lot of confusion as you're trying to develop as a young man. And here I go through cancer and all these things, and then they fucked everything up. And you were trying to build a surprise. There's Brittany Palmer right over there. There's Michael Jackson, President Barack Obama and his wife. You have Akiana Karamerica. I mean, she talks to God herself. She talks to God herself, and she's a blue-eyed, blonde little girl that you hear in these fairy tale, folk stories from thousands of years ago that really did happen in biblical times. Where the little girl speaks to God and Jesus her love and can provide that proof and has communication with God just to show her. Like, she actually does talk to God himself. Like, just has him on speed dial and shit. But, you have all these people that try to show some love and respect and trying to build this momentum to something that's valuable in life, that we're not just here to suffer, especially in the United States, and to represent that. And it didn't happen because you had too many fucking parasites. And, even though that the longevity is to wait for it, a lot of people were doing, what that did is gave the opportunities to someone to eventually do things to me. I shouldn't have gotten 50 fucking tickets. I shouldn't have been thrown in jail that much. And it doesn't change the fact that this will always be a conspiracy and they're just going to justify it. And I know that I'm smart enough to dissect this and what they took away and how this is calculated. I know exactly what had happened. But there's nothing that I can do. It's just like, You know, it's like the prison guards. You know, they throw you in a cell with a lot of guys that are a lot bigger than you and that are fucking horny, fucking crazy, raping little kids and shit, little boys. They don't give a shit. They'll rape the shit out your ass. They'll overpower you, beat the fuck at you. I mean, they'll plummet your ass to the fucking ground and stick their dick in your ass before any officer can get to your ass. You know, and then the officers will play along with it. Oh, I just, couldn't find my keys. Oh, I just couldn't. It is the worst of highest levels of evil, like very dark, and there's no God there. There's no God there, you know. And there's always going to be the conspiracy of murder. Always going to be that. Oh, we'll show love later. You know, this was a tragedy, and it was intentionally done, and it shouldn't have. And I was so innocent that this happened. If I wasn't as innocent as I was to have such a horrible thing happen to me, it happened to Frankie. No, give it to white power Ken Cooper and the Cooper family and feel sorry for those pigs. Oh, remember transgender right over there? Oh yeah, transgender. Do you know what they do to guys like us that rape girls in prison? Not only there's no women over there, but there's nothing but faggots over there. And they hate rapists are the most hated people inside prison. They're worse despised of than murderers. Rapists are. And it's a very, very, we shouldn't have deserved the horrible things that, there was so much suffering. This wasn't freeloading. We weren't getting a free credit card to do whatever. And then they have to build their psychology. They know that at the end of the tunnel, they're always going to get what they want. It's not until you lose your life and you continue to suffer all the way down into the cemetery. But just because they killed me doesn't mean their other lives stop. That's what I understand. Once they killed me and they stopped me like that and giving me all these tickets and all this other shit, somebody else does the killing. It doesn't change the fact that happened to me. It didn't happen to you. It happened to me. So Ken Cooper and his platoon coming up with the next excuses. How much worse you can be as a person to think because my mother was such a horrible person and you want to give her that. Oh, you want to give Kenneth that. No, Kenneth is going to be a worse person. And then, because all that is very evil. My mother is not an evil person at all. Ken said that's a very dark, evil shit, claiming that that's psychology or necessary tactics to protect. That's bullshit. But it doesn't, that's never going to change. They're going to get what they want. The president and the psychologist, it's going to be a flawless victory. They knew they were going to get the end of the tunnel. It's just like Roman being in a quadriplegic. It's just like anyone else that goes through a lot of suffering in life. They know how many, you can't keep using that coupon. You can't keep using it all the time. Life goes on, and we forget about that tragedy, and that's the existence of your new existence of life right until you die. My existence of life until I die will always be HIV positive. That's what my life is. I understand that from the minute that I was 28 years old, for the rest of my life, no matter how much money I have, no matter how much fame or how bad my life gets, eating in trash cans, how many times I get raped, or I end up in prison, or I get quadriplegic all of a sudden because I get hit by a car, or somebody shoots me and I end up paralyzed, or somebody punches me and I end up with partial brain damage. I will always be an HIV positive individual. That until I die, until I take my last breath, until my heart stops, until I am deceased on a gurney and they put me in a body bag and put a drape and they take me to a funeral home, they cut me open, prepare me and use the embalming methods and have a funeral service or cremate me, whatever the fuck they do with my body. I'm gonna die as HIV positive, and I got raped by a male as an adult, 28 years old on a college campus, in front of this big surprise that they thought was supposed to happen, and people were trying to show love and careness. And then in the mix of things, the professionals, what they do with all the chess pieces behind me and in front of me and to the left and right of me, It's always going to be in the purposeful of what they want. They know there was going to be a victory. There's not going to be a send you in prison for what the fuck you just did, you worthless pig motherfuckers. Because one person will commit suicide, but you're not going to go after their daughters and kids, because that's why they committed suicide toward me. That's why they behave the way that they did. And I believe that, I understand that that's, but my life, other people's lives don't stop. Madison doesn't mean it's going to get a yacht ride, in the oceans with a beautiful, handsome-looking, picture-looking couple with Paris Hilton declaring the white supremacy in pictures and claiming it's not racist when it is, or whoever the fuck may show into the picture. It's not going to change any of those things. I've been scummed and infected with the HIV, and that's what I am. There's no sexual attraction possibilities. Everything changes. And the evolution of maturity has already been calculated by the psychologists and the people already then who are not psychologists know where my next 10 step is going to be, my next 7 step is going to be, my next 20 step is going to be, and they start calculating to benefit them to then counter it. And it becomes even more toxic. And that's why I need to go to Jerusalem, and that's why. So I think that's, I can see the camera glitching, but anyway, I think that's very important for me to talk about. So, but when you, but it's at 41 years old, and then they know, you get the inspiration, eye of the tiger, or whatever bullshit. You go work out, do little kick punches. Oh shit, you meet your friend. Because that's the value of life. We're not here very long, and that's the dirtiest of the worthless pigs that you are ever going to come across in life. You think that human beings are all equal and all this other shit. How many pigs do you think came out of prison and then went to Jesus Christ into a fancy church and got married, had kids, and then got a really good job and enjoyed the rest of their life, and they unbelievably damaged people's lives in horrific fucking ways? You won't ever hear about it. You won't ever hear about it because of what they did. And they did their 10 years in prison. They did their 5 years. They did and they just got a very low sentence. They were white, or they just had a lot of money or they just got a good lawyer. The way the case went, they got really lucky. There's a lot of people like that. The incarceration system has the highest level of jails in the United States. There's the most level incarcerated jail inmates than anywhere in the world, and the most vicious. One of the most vicious. The South America has some of the worst. There's a few other places that have the worst, but it's very, very. It has the most amount of people incarcerated in the United States. It's just prisons all over the place. So, I think that in the particular situation where, I understand that how they get the Ferraris and the chairs by the people and what we think we want and all this other shit. I was done for. And it doesn't change the fact that, even though they didn't participated in my life very much at all, they just go on with their red carpet. And that's how the killing works. That's how the murder works. They knew what they were doing, because I want to wait until somebody kills you and kills one of your other friends, and then I'm going to do the same thing, motherfucker. Oh, I'm Keno, and I said, I didn't mean that shit. Oh, it's Ken Cooper, the detective who locked away a lot of people. Oh, it's the bitch Sarah Cooper. She's not a bitch, she's an angel. Like, it doesn't change. They know how, they stay up at the top of the power, and they stay there. And they just shoot down to kill, and that's it. That there is no God, there is, you have to, the best that I could do is to live on my knees in a church and beg for other people until I die, until the last moments of my life are no longer. And that's what my life was, even though it shouldn't have been, and I got stung. They don't think about what was taken away from me, but only what was going to be given to me, and how things went the way that they went when they should have gone this way. But it was done with a vengeance. It was done with the intentional sabotage, harm, greed, selfishness at a very dark calculation. The calculation is the most frightening way, because it's calculated. It's you were not grateful for what you had, and you wanted to take from me, and they did. As long as I can get you to kill yourself, I said whether you went to heaven or not. And that's the truth, because we know who the Bible is. And it's exactly like that. When a Marine goes out there in the Iraq field and has to use an AR-15 to blow the fuck out of somebody, Taliban's fucking head off, and 7 or 8 of them, how he thinks and how he moves and how he has to participate in that type of human being to kill real life people and then go back to a normal life and wait until he dies to say if God said he did a good job or not. And he had to do the ultimate thing. There's no more fixing when you die, remember? When you kill someone, when your life ends, when my life ends, there is no more fixing. The only thing that's going to be left is my taxes of what I left behind with other people to fucking fix. And I am no longer able to do anything anymore. That, I'm finished there. So, but I think it's important for me to talk about this because, you know, I'm just venting of these ideas and these things that go on, and, you know, to me, I understand that, but so much of the exchange is oh, okay, well, we're just going to give you this emotion because it's just, you know, forgiveness, and then I go back over there, nah, give him a rope and leave him in the room by himself, motherfucker, you know, and it brings even the rage out of me. I do not like being angry. I do not like being pissed off. That's not where I like to get fueled in. And it's not, people build empires with it, but I don't think it is the best way to do things. I don't think that being pissed off and angry is a good feeling to retain, because it really does take away a lot of the enjoyment of my life personally, where I'm not allowed to laugh, I don't smile, I don't feel good, you know, like I probably should, and so many other people being able to enjoy life a little bit more. And it's because of the electronic devices and this excuse and that excuse, but you know, it's you know, I understand that just because of what happened to me doesn't, you know, other people's lives move on and they get what they want, and they were kept in a safety net, and that's what happened. And you know, they're so smart. They're so smart to calculate. They know this is pristine calculation. They exactly know when you turn left, when you're going to want to turn right, where your 10th step is going to be, what your age is, what mental state, what maturity, your relationship, how people function when they accept love, compassion, empathy. They already know that. They're 40 years old, they're 35. Most people, adult, especially women as well, know this. And women are always more compassionate and more empathetic. Not transgenders or gays. Because they want to survive too. And they're willing to kill me for the movement they want, and that's what happened. And but I think it's important for me to talk about, because, you know, I think it's important because, you know, I believe in God. I like to believe in God, and I do believe, and I've said this before, and I think it was A-Track's mother, DJ A-Track, the famous, I think it was his mother. But anyway, I was looking out the window, and this person asked me, and I had a bit of a hangover from drinking, and it was very serenity, very peaceful. Anyway, she was standing by the window or whatever. Nobody was in this big empty room, and I just sat on a chair waiting for the doctor to call me. And she said, "Do you believe in God?" And it was just glare in the sun. It was like a movie moment, you know. It was like a God intense movie moment or something. The way I'm supposed to go physically, I'm very calm and just like feel like I'm on the last strings of my own life. And I'm very alert though. And I said, well, I like to think I do. So I like to believe. And so I said, do you believe in God? I like to think so, but it doesn't mean that I didn't get it all wrong. and I just didn't understand what, maybe it was just, I don't like to think that way, because it doesn't value the human life that's still given to me for whatever reason it was, even if it wasn't connected to a higher power that has an intelligence that takes us to heaven or not. That there's still a beautiful world. You can still go to a forest and look at the beautiful trees and flowers, and as an individual understand that we recognize what beauty is. To a natural beauty, we understand that. The peaceful serenity of that wanting and desire that seems more natural than to go into a fiery, dangerous place. And I think that is, something that, I like to believe, and I do. And I always believe I always will. I like to, but there's so many, we all wonder, every one of us, we're on the same boat on that one, just, about God, what that afterlife is going to be like, and what we have our different experiences. And, it's just, there's a lot of bad people out there. They're so selfish, and it's this frightening world. Just so frightening. Monsters, just lurking all over the place. And you're enjoying your life with all this money and all these things and all this attention, and you try to get the best of exchanges of all that shit. And there's too many people out there with the level of greed and self-absorbed individuals that is so beyond frightening. It's so beyond frightening because they want to live that bullshit world. They're, a poor man gives you $1, a billionaire gives you 10 million. Who do you think is giving you more money? How does God look at that? And so, we have to do the best with what we have, but it's always an awful thing to watch somebody pay for so much and they get nothing for it. And not only for myself that I think, but I think for somebody to be able to buy that shit from, they didn't purchase my mother a house. They purchased their negotiations and the preparation of somebody else do the hits. Oh, I don't know what the fuck. I was just compassionate. It's just all we can do. Bullshit. And they're very smart. And I think I still think it's a beautiful thing and a very nice thing. It had been very incredible, but it's bad. Personally pain to go through. I thought sometimes I understood what pain was when I was younger, and sometimes I just cry more than I like or more than I should about other bullshit. All that work I did, 7 years watching people die, and my dad, and and I could have had my life so much better now at the mercy of these friends that were still pieces of shit toward me. I'm living in this apartment by myself, and I tried to be grateful that my life could have been so much more better, and accessible to things that were supposed to be given to me when none of my friends were going to be given that. And I was lucky enough somehow out of all of them. And to have, but when people just show up with their psychology books and whatever it is very, very difficult to understand, like a degree of pain and mental dysfunction that I didn't believe that could be done to me in such a horrific way with the intention of doing that to a person. Like, you infected me with HIV and you only put me around transgenders. I go through cancer. I get 40 fucking tickets. They just took everything I had. All the money, it was stolen. And these pigs were working. Gary Gwynn, Michael Moody, Mike Standish. You know, these people had job sites. It doesn't stop. They got their own calculations. No, this is not your fucking money. And you know, it doesn't change. It's too late. You know, you go through, it's hard to describe because when somebody beats the fuck out of you with electronic devices, you know, I was such a highly sensitive person when I was younger. And I was very detailedly highly sensitive to people's well-beings. And I felt like I was, and I knew that I was, and more than a lot of people around me. And you just come around this shit, and it's all like, man, that I ever think of my life, I would be sticking my penis inside a man-made hole of a person that decapitated themselves and threw themselves in a suicide bomb at me in front of every fucking billion human being on the face of this entertainment field, and I was a DJ. It was the most high level of disgrace because they knew right back to church and right back, and it's not like I wasn't going to go there before. Some people are very built very well already in those beginning stages and just continue to do that and engulf that even better and more. You don't have to go through the pit of garbage and swimming in feces like they had me in. And then you go, oh, okay, I understand God now. It's not until that I understand that I understood God now. You know, and that's what they did. You know, but, you know, it sucks. It's a bummer. You know, I have all those people, you know, those hot girls, and you know, I haven't been able to see a heterosexual woman in so many years. That's why I went to the porn convention. Just to even look eye contact with real females, because I get tired around. I don't want to be around transgenders, and that's all they put me around with homosexuals and shit. And you know, they gutted out my mother stealing her kids, and it was probably a transgender that did that goddamn shit. You know, and you know, I'm watching my sister be beat the fuck out of by a transgender. You know, but it's real bad out there. It's that horrible world. People are very evil, very monstrous, and don't give a shit. They're just waiting to get the red carpet to heaven, and they die that way. They die that way. They have no fear. They live. They get placed in a very comfortable death preparation mentality that they're going to heaven, but nobody's torturing them that what they're doing is wrong. And people know that they're doing wrong, but they like the fact that they're content that way, so that they leave this world contentful, and they die that way, like the filthy pigs of what they did to me. And you know, to have something like that is such a disgrace. And you got Madison that looks like Akiana. That's a good one because they'll do the comparison. You know, I'm Mexican, black hair. You know, white boy. You know, Ken Cooper, blonde hair, blue eyes, cowboy. That's Akiana. Very bridged connection. That doesn't separate. You know, that's God's little girl himself. You know, Jesus is like direct daughter. You know, like. You have the president atomic bombs, you know, killing terrorists, making decisions we can't even put together in our minds for a split second. You have these beautiful girls that are showing up, you know, Brittany Palmer or whoever it was, you know, several other people that show up, and it's such a tragedy. I mean, you didn't give a shit. It's just humility. You didn't give a shit, you know. I think life would have been better to stay grateful, stay out of the public eye, and you know, you get to live a normal life and believe in God. and believe and stay that way. Going to church and doing the 8-hour shifts and going about your life. Even if you don't work 8-hour shifts, you stay with your parents and make a life of your own. But just try to stay away from that entertainment field, because it's such it's the worst field and disgusting fields to work in. Your purpose in life is not what you're going to think you're going to be doing as an entertainer. That's your stepping stone, but that's not your purpose. Your purpose when you get there is for something else, for political powers, gains, and to help other people in what they see. It's not what you think it is. It's not. It has to be that way, because there's so much dark and evil shit that our people are trying to do to get there. And the ones that don't want to get there intentionally sabotage the ones that were me at one point wanted to get to the situations like that. I mean, it's very dark, very, very evil, very dark in every lurking corner. They're very wealthy. They know how to get what they want. They have the access to the power tools from other corrupted individuals. But, the time is gone, the time passed by, and that was it. At 41 years old, they already know the sexual appetites they have toward girls, and if there is, there's suspicions that I have that they may have recovered people that had HIV, some potential girls, and I think they made him possibly maybe Sydney Sweeney, or maybe some other people that had HIV somehow, whatever crazy which way, and ended up getting infected. And then in order to treasure their life and protect them, give them all the dreams and things that they want, because they're changing the whole world and whatever they're doing and all the stuff that's going on, houses and whatnot, they get all this super wealth, and they just have to figure out who's going to be available, or whoever it is that's infected. But I just know that I'm still 41 years old, and I did a lot of drugs in my teens, and I had aplastic anemia, and I smoked a pack of cigarettes every couple of days, and I don't exercise like I used to, and people don't understand I was doing drugs while I was on plastic anemia, and that is one of the most stupidest and craziest things to fucking do. I was a late teenager, and I'm not eating healthy, particularly nourishable food when I'm very young, like I should have been or could have been. They're giving them all steak dinners, but it's tough. I'm accepting to the things that I can't change, but I want justice, and it's never going to be served. You have too many of these queers that run their own games in the Hollywood world. Too many of them. Straight men have the worst in this world, because if you ever want to get in the entertainment business, if you ever have a family, in order for you to be a good father and a good husband, you have to be able to take care of your kids and your family and put them first and do the family thing. You can't do that producing music, traveling around the world, seeing your kids once a week. That's not you're not around your family, you're not watching them raise. They just you see them occasionally, have the mother do everything. That's not a family. It's, a lot of people do that. You have to deal with the wife not cheating on you. You have to deal with all these different things. And relationships is how difficult as they are to begin with. And if you're an entertainer, you have too many temptations and too many things that are going on. You can't live a normal life. You don't have any power. You're living under the scum of homosexuals and transgenders that run the entertainment and political world. We have the worst of it, and if you're not looking to see who's a faggot and who's not, we will never in this world run power. Ever did. Because we're too focused on either women getting the simple sexual pleasures, because we're the only people in this world that make babies. If you are gay and you're a homosexual, I don't hate you for it, but you do not produce your genetics, even if it's supreme genetics. There's a lot of models out there, GT looking models, are homosexuals, You know that if they had a sex with a woman, they would make beautiful babies, but they're gay, and they live like that. Your genetic will not pass on because of that. You don't make babies and bring life into the world. You don't, period. You rely that on us, and you rely that on us to make the mistake, and women to make the mistake, so then you maybe didn't take care of the fucking kid. But we're the only ones that make that happen. And what that does to us, you know, in order to survive in this world is it's very difficult because, you know, we have to do so much other shit. We don't get all creative and all this other shit. Your mind, we have to stay the way we are in order to keep the family and stay the family. We're connected to the children and to the wife much more deeper than a homosexual man is with a woman, thinking that he does everything that he's supposed to and he's just as connected to the wife. No, because you're not screwing her. And that's why. So we have to deal with, and that does not put us in the power. You know, there's so much a lack of, you go to school and do all these other things. You know, this is why all creativity and the entertainment business is just nothing but gay dudes and transgenders. That's all that's there. Because all they do they're more creative because of the existence of life they have. And that's why. They're more creative, and that's why they're able to stay very disciplined continuously. Because they don't make kids. They don't breed kids. They don't have to worry about those factors that straight men do. They just see us as responsibility to put life into this world, and that's it. Oh, just sex with this and sex with that, and then you see, and then that's babies and marriage, and that's life. They don't understand any of that shit. They know that's how it works. It's like straight guys do, but that's all they understand of it, and it's very filthy when they think that way. All of them think that way, and it's. That's why there's such a lack of college educations for straight males and IT departments, and you have lawyers, and it's such a lack in that. And same thing with straight women. You can't, what are you going to choose? A career, 4-year degree, or to take care of your kids full time, like the mother they're already built to be from the beginning of human existences? How women are wired to just take care of children and be a house mom. All women are built that way. But some choose not to live that way. But it doesn't change. You're built that way. That's how women are built. You ever see like the little duck, the mother duck, all with her little ducklings, following? They're naturally how women are built like that. And that's why you have such a lack of college degrees. You have school kids. You don't have time to be creative and all this other bullshit unless you waste your life off. And you're the straight person that's supposed to bring life into this world and show the example of the other people. And, when you don't have all those kinds of things to worry about, homosexuals complain about, people know, about they're gay and all this other shit, and it's just a painful inside of them. It's just unbearable bullshit. It's just because they want to complain more about that. And it's it sucks. You look at the percentages of how marriages last. Out of all the straight men that ever have a relationship and a child with a woman, very few end up getting married. How much of that actually lasts more than 20 or 30 years, like the olden days? Stay together like a family, and how you were very purposeful through your life, the entire life existence you have. Man and woman, you're both straight. The woman, and the man, they make babies together and they stay together. It's unheard of. You have all these women that get prostituted out by these homosexuals, and then because the women are so desperate and get fucked over by so many circumstances, and then the gay faggots, because they control all the money and so much connection and such a tight network that they have and always help each other and shit, then they just jump into the circle with the woman and take care of the other kids and be like, they're daddy now. Look, you see how they take care of shit, and we can't do nothing about it. That's what happened to me. It's what happened to, to the family I grew up in. It's what happened to so many other people. And Women get placed in very tough situations. And I don't think it will never change until women get into power and get college educations. That is the only way it's ever going to change. Only way it's ever going to change. Any hope. It's not saying that it is. Any hope that it's ever going to change, because women are the one that correct that. Women are the one that correct that. So, I don't know. So I thought I'd make a video and talk about a few things and vent out. Think what you want. I feel old. I feel old. Got a lot of gray hair. Going bald.